You ever look at your own child and wonder if they even know your name? Not the title granny, mama, old lady, but you, the woman who walked barefoot to the clinic with feverish baby in arms, who sold her gold bangles to buy school shoes, who kept the lights on when the bills were higher than the hope. I used to think family was forever. Turns out, forever got an expiry date when Pride walked in the door. My name is Lisa Martin. I'm 76. I live in Kingston, Jamaica, right off Halfway Tree, where the mango trees still drop fruit on the pavement and the neighbors know you're sick just by the smell of your soup. And if you're still here, listening to an old woman's truth, thank you. Most folks tune out when they hear granny talk, but you stayed, so I'll tell you what happened. Not for pity, not for drama, just so someone knows. Respect don't come from blood, it come from heart. Before I begin, I got a little question for you. If you're comfortable right now, would you mind dropping a comment? Tell me where you're listening from, and what time it is in your part of the world. Because knowing I got company while I tell this story, it make the pain a little lighter. Now, you might be asking, how a mother end up locked in a mental ward by her own daughter, or maybe, why she didn't just leave sooner. But let me tell you something I learned after 76 years in this hard, beautiful island. You cyan plant kindness in a heart full of vanity and expect it to grow. In Jamaica, we say, when the river dry up, you see who been drinking all the water. And honey, my river ran dry the day they called me Mat Woman, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start from the beginning, from the day my Delon brought home that girl with city eyes and a mouth too full of herself. Delon was my only child, born in 78. Same year, the sugar prices crashed and half the village left for Canada. But I kept him close, worked day and night at Lewis Grocery, the little shop my husband, Clive, started with one sack of rice and a prayer. After Clive passed in 2001, that shop became my lifeline, and Delon's future. I paid for his school uniform with change from selling yam and kalu, his textbooks, bought with profit from Easter buns, his university in Mon, funded by every extra dollar I saved while eating rice and peas 3 nights a week. He came back a professional suit, briefcase, fancy, talk about investments. I was so proud, I cried into my head for a week. Then he met Naya. She was from Montego Bay, always dressed like she's stepping out for carnival on a Tuesday. First time she came to the house, she wrinkled her nose at the smell of a key cooking. Auntie, you still live in this old place? Don't you have a sea? I just smiled. Because what's a mother to say? This old place put your future husband through school. But I should have known. In Jamaica, we got a saying, pretty face, empty heart, like a coconut with no meat. They got engaged quick. When Delon told me, I hugged him tight and said, bring her home, son. We'll do the wedding proper, church, rice, and plenty dance. I'll pay for everything. He kissed my forehead. Thanks, mama. You the best. I believed him. Foolish me. The trouble start when Naya saw the house. Barbara, she said one evening, voice sweet like poison syrup, Delon and I, we need our own space. This old house, it's full of ghosts, and your ways, they hold us back. I looked at her, really looked. This house built by my husband's hands, every brick got a prayer in it, and you calling it ghosts. She crossed her arms. Look, auntie, we can't live like this anymore. Either you move out, or we go. Delon stood behind her, like his mama's home was just a small price to pay for his wife's modern life. That night, I sat on my veranda, watching fireflies blink over the gully. Clive's voice came to me, soft as breeze. Barbara, don't let pride break your heart, but don't let disrespect build a home on your bones. So I made a decision. I started packing, not just my clothes, but everything that was mine. The deed to the house, 1962, Clive's name, then mine the land certificate for the half-acre behind the shop, my bank passbooks, Republic Bank, NCB, even the old photo album Delon, as a baby, Clive smiling in his Sunday best, because I knew, if you leave your papers behind, you leave your power behind. The next morning, I was folding my last dress when Naya walked in, arms full of shopping bags, heels clicking like warning shots. What you doing, auntie? She asked, eyes narrow. Packing. I said calm. You asked me to go, so I go. She laughed, a sharp, tinkling sound that didn't reach her eyes. Oh, you think it that easy? You've been acting strange lately, talking to yourself, staring at walls. Delon say you even threatened to burn the house down. I froze. I never say that. But I'm scared, she whispered, voice suddenly trembling, too perfect, too practiced. What if you hurt us? What if you hurt the baby? I looked at her, stomach flat. No baby. But I said nothing. because in that moment, I saw it. She wasn't just kicking me out, she was erasing me. 2 hours later, I heard sirens. Not loud, not urgent, just there. I opened the door to find 2 police officers, caps, low faces, tired. Miss Lewis, one asked, we got a report that you're a danger to yourself and others. We need to take you for evaluation. I didn't argue, didn't cry, just asked, who call you? The officer glanced at Nia standing behind him in the hallway, eyes wide with fake fear. Your dog, she'll say you've been unstable. I nodded. All right, but let me take my bag. They let me, because they thought an old woman with a cloth bag was harmless. They didn't know that Bach held my freedom. At the University Hospital mental ward, they took my bag, searched it, found the papers, laughed. Old woman carrying land deeds like treasure. But they didn't take them, just locked them in a drawer. For 3 days, I sat in a white room with thin walls and thinner hope, ate bland food, answered calm questions from a young psychiatrist named Dr. Evans. Do you hear voices, Mrs. Lewis? No, doctor, just the truth ended loud enough. Do you want to hurt anyone? Only the ones who hurt my heart, but I leave that to God. On the 3rd day, Dr. Evans sat across from me, holding my file. Mrs. Lewis, there's no sign of mental illness. You're grieving, you're angry, but you're not mad. He leaned forward. Who did this to you? I looked out the window at the blue Jamaican sky, the same sky Clive and I watched for 50 years. Family, doctor, the ones who're supposed to love you are the ones who cut deepest. He nodded. You free to go tomorrow. That night, I couldn't sleep, not from fear, from clarity. Because in Jamaica, we got another saying, when the dog to follow ya hun, it start bite you. And Nia, she wasn't just biting, she was trying to bury me alive. But here's the thing they forgot. A lion don't lose sleep over the opinion of sheep. And I'm no sheep. So while they thought I was broken, I was planning. I remembered Sister Marva, the nurse who checked my blood pressure. She used to buy flour from my shop. Her sons still call me Granny B. Next morning, before I left, I whispered to her, Sister, I need a favor. Call my lawyer, Miss Helen Campbell. Tell her, the lion is awake. She squeezed my hand. Go rest, Granny B. Justice, don't sleep in Jamaica. When I walked out of that hospital, I didn't go home. I went straight to Republic Bank. Then NCB. Then the National Land Agency. In one day, I froze all joint accounts, cancelled Dellen's access cards, updated the land title, adding a clause that the property can never be sold without my written consent, redirected the utility bills, light, water, gas, to my name, only because in this country, the woman who owns the roof owns the power. And honey, my roof, it's been standing since 1962. That evening, I sat on a bench near Emancipation Park, watched the sunset paint the sky in gold and fire, and I whispered to Clive. They thought I was weak, love, but a tree don't bend 'cause it's weak. It bends so the storm can't break it. Now, the storm is over, and I'm still standing. But what happened next? How Delon and Nia faced the truth that their modern life was built on my bones. How they stood in the dark when the lights got cut off. How they begged, and I finally chose peace over pain. That is for another time. For now, thank you for staying with me through this part of the story. And if you're still comfortable, drop a comment below. Where are you listening from? What time is it in your world? Because knowing I got company makes the truth a little easier to bear. You ever hear silence so loud it shake your bones? Not the quiet of an empty room, but the silence after the lights go out, after the water stop running, after the world you built with your own hands just stop working for you. That's what happened to Delon and Nia. One minute they was posting selfies in that big house on Old Hope Road. Next minute they was sitting in the dark, wondering why the fridge warm and the shower cold. And if you're still here with me, on this bench near Emancipation Park, where the hibiscus bloom red as old wounds, thank you. Because what I'm about to tell you, it ain't revenge, it's reckoning. And in Jamaica, reckoning don't come with thunder, it come with a bill. Before I go on, I got that little question again. If you're comfortable right now, would you drop a comment? Tell me where you're listening from and what time it is in your corner of the world. Because knowing I got company while I speak this truth, it keep my hands from shaking. Last time I left off, I'd just walked out of the university hospital, not broken, not bitter, but awake. I'd frozen the accounts, locked the land title, redirected every utility to my name, and then I waited. The first sign it was working came 3 days later. I was sitting at my usual spot in Miss Clara's cafe corner table. Black coffee, no sugar win. My phone buzzed, unknown number, but I knew that tightness in my chest, that's a mother's sixth sense. I let it ring, then again, and again. By the fifth call, I turned it off. Not cruel, just done. But the real storm hit a week later. I got a letter from Jamaica Public Service Company, not for me, but about me. Turns out, Dylan had called them, furious. Why the light cut off in my house? The reply was simple. Account holder, Lisa Martin. Service suspended due to non-payment by authorized user. Because here's what they forgot. In Jamaica, the name on the bill, own the power. Same with National Water Commission. Same with Supreme Ventures Gas. One by one, the comforts they took for granted, the AC, the hot shower, the fridge full of imported cheese, all gone. Not with a bang, but with a whisper. Account suspended. They didn't come to me right away. Oh no. First, they tried to fix it the easy way. Delon called my neighbor, Mrs. Grant, sweet old soul who still thinks I'm too soft on that boy. He begged her to ask me, just turn the light back on, Mama, we'll pay you back. Mrs. Grant came over with a plate of festival and saltfish, eyes full of pity. Barbara, why you so hard? He's your only son. I poured her a cup of bush tea and said, Sister, if I let a thief back in my house just 'cause he cry, he'll steal my bed next time. Love don't mean foolishness. She didn't argue, just patted my hand and left. Then Naya tried calling my cousin in Mandeville, said she was sick with worry about me. But my cousin, God bless her, just said, Lisa Martin, say she fine. And when Lisa Martin say fine, she mean leave her alone. Still, they didn't get it. They posted on sad captions like, family is complicated. Some people choose control over love. As if I was the one who called the police, as if I was the one who spent my pension on their designer clothes. But in Kingston, gossip traveled faster than rain in rainy season. Soon, everyone knew. Granny B cut off. Delon said, go earn your own light. And you know what? People didn't side with them. They nodded. Because, in this country, we respect elders. We don't call them mad woman and then live in their house like it's ours. 2 weeks after the lights went out, they finally came to me. Not to my house, they couldn't get in, the locks were changed. But to Miss Clara's cafe, it was raining soft, steady rain, the kind that washes the dust off the soul. I saw them through the window. Delon, in a wrinkled shirt, no tie, Nia in flat sexual flats, her hair pulled back, no makeup. They looked small, like the world had finally pressed down on them hard enough to squeeze out the arrogance. I didn't rush to greet them. I let them stand there in the rain, in the shame, in the silence. When they finally sat, Nia's eyes filled up right away. Mama Barbara, we're so sorry. Delon couldn't look at me. We didn't know. We thought the house was ours. I almost laughed. Yours, that house built with Clive's sweat, that land paid for with my night shifts at the laundry. You thought it was yours. Nia reached for my hand. I pulled it back. Don't touch me with the same hands that called me madwoman and danger. You wanted freedom. You got it. You wanted modern life. Enjoy the dark. But don't come here crying about consequences when you was the one playing with fire. Delon finally looked up, voice breaking. Mama, we got nothing now. The landlord threatening eviction, which is, we need the house back. I studied him, my boy, my only child, and felt that old ache in my chest. But I remembered Clive's words. Don't let disrespect build a home on your bones. So I said what I had to say. You got a roof over your head on Old Hope Road. But it's my roof. You can stay there. But not with my money. Not with my light. Not with my name. Nia started to cry, real tears. Not the performative kind. But how we go live. We can't even cook. I looked at her, really looked. Hand said, then go work. Like I did. Like your own mama probably did. In Jamaica, we don't wait for handouts. We plant yam. We sell patties. We clean houses if we must. But we earn our rice. I left cash for my coffee and walked out. Didn't look back. Because some doors, once closed, should stay closed. After they left, I sat on my veranda and watched the rain wash the street clean. Mrs. Grant brought over a pot of stew. P said she just had extra. We ate in silence. Then she said, you think you too hard on them, Barbara. I sipped my tea. Sister, when a child learned to walk, you let them fall. If you catch them every time, they never learn balance. I caught Dylan for 40 years. Now, it's time he stand on his own 2 feet. She nodded, because she knew, we all know. In this country, dignity ain't given, it's earned, and you can't earn it if someone else keep paying your way. The next few months, I heard things. Delan got a job at a shipping yard loading crates in the sun. Nia started selling homemade patties from her kitchen. Nia kitchen, she called it. Small, humble, real. They moved out of the old Hope house, couldn't afford the upkeep, without my money, and rented a little place near 2 rooms, shared bathroom. But they were working. And for the first time in years, they were together. Not as the Lewises of big houses, but as Delan and Neo too. Young people learning that love don't pay the light bill. One evening, I got a small package at my door. No note, just a box, inside, a jar of homemade guava jelly, Nia's recipe, a photo of Delan, smiling, really smiling at his new jaband. A single white lily. I placed the lily in a glass of water on my windowsill, watched it bloom for 3 days. Then, it wilted, and I let it, because some things ain't meant to last forever, but they still got beauty while they here. People ask me now, Barbara, you forgive them. I tell them, forgiveness don't mean forgetting. It don't mean opening your door. It just mean you stop carrying the anger like a stone in your pocket. I put my stone down. Now I walk lighter. In Jamaica, we say, the river don't hold grudges, it just keep flowing. And honey, I'm still flowing. I reopened Lewis Grocery just part-time now. Hired a young girl from the village to help. Teach her how to balance books, how to treat customers like family, how to know when someone's lying about paying tomorrow. And every Sunday, I cook extra rice and peas, not for Delan, not for Naya, but for the old folks at the community center, the ones whose children left for Canada and never looked back. We eat together, we laugh, we remember. And in that room, full of wrinkled hands and tired eyes, I'm not Mama Barbara, the wronged mother. I'm just Barbara, a woman who loved too hard, gave too much, and finally learned to keep something for herself. So thank you for staying with me through this part of the story, because what comes next, it's not revenge, it's not fairy tale reunion, it's just life, quiet, real, and finally, mine. And if you ever doubt that a woman can rebuild after betrayal, just remember an old shopkeeper from Kingston who said, my love is free, but my light, that got a switch on it. You ever watch a seed grow? Not the kind in a nursery, watered and coddled. I mean the one that fall in cracked concrete, no sun, no care, just dust and heat, and still, it pushed through. Slow, quiet, unseen. That's how healing come. Not with fanfare, not with apologies, but with time, and truth, and tiny acts of courage. If you're still here with me, on this bench where the hibiscus bloom red as old wounds, thank you. Because what I'm about to tell you, it ain't the end of a fairy tale, it's the beginning of something real. And before I begin, I got that little question again. If you're comfortable right now, would you drop a comment below? Tell me where you're listening from, and what time it is in your part of the world. Because knowing I got company while I speak this truth, it make the weight a little lighter. Last time I left off, Delan and Nia was scraping by him loading crates at the port, her selling patties from a pot on the stove. They'd lost the fancy house, the credit cards, the illusion that comfort grow on trees. And for the first time, they was honest, not perfect, just trying. It started small. One Sunday morning, rain just stopped. Air sweet with wet earth. I heard a knock. Not loud, not desperate. Just there. I opened the door to find Delan standing alone, holding a paper bag. No suit, no swagger, just a faded t-shirt, worn jeans, and eyes that finally looked like my son's again. Mama, he said, voice rough like he hadn't used it in weeks, I brought you something. He held out the bag. Inside, 2 loaves of fresh hard dough bread from the bakery on Crossroads, the one I used to take him to when he was 5, where the baker always gave him an extra bun for being such a good boy. I didn't say thank you, didn't invite him in, but I took the bread. Because in Jamaica, you don't refuse food offered with clean hands. He stood there, shifting his weight. Nia, she's working double shifts at the clinic now. Cleaning, she'll say. She's sorry for everything. I nodded. Sorry don't pay bills, Delan, but it's a start. He looked down at his shoes, scuffed, no polish. We moved out of Old Hope, renting a room near Papani. It's small, but it's ours. I almost smiled. Good. A man should know what it feel like to earn his own roof. He stayed quiet for a long time. Then, real soft, do you hate me, Mama? That one hit deep. Like a stone dropped in still water. I looked at him, my boy, my only child, and said, I could never hate you, Delan, but I stopped trusting you. And trust, that take time to grow back. Like yam, in hard ground. He nodded, eyes wet, didn't argue, didn't beg, just turned and walked away, not with his head down in shame, but with his shoulders straight, like a man who finally knew his place. Weeks passed. I heard things. Of course, Kingston small like that. Mrs. Grant told me. Naya started volunteering at the old folks' home on South Camp Road, washing floors, reading letters, holding hands of women whose children never call. She cries sometimes, Mrs. Grant said, stirring her tea. Say she finally understand what you must have felt. I didn't reply, but that night, I cooked extra stoupies, put it in a container, left it on the step of the community center. No name, no note, just food. Because in this country, we feed the soul before we fix the heart. Then came the day the shop roof started leaking. Lewis Grocery, my pride, my legacy, had a hole right over the rice section. Rain came in, soaked 3 bags of long grain. I couldn't afford a roofer, not with sales slow and hands old. I was on the ladder, trying to patch it with tarpaulin, when a shadow fell over me. Delon. He didn't say a word, just took the hammer from my hand, climbed up, and fixed the roof proper with nails, wood, and the same quiet focus he used to have when building Lego towers as a boy. When he came down, he wiped his brow and said, next week, I'll check the gutters too. I handed him a glass of sorrel. You don't have to do this. He drank it slow. I know, but I want to. And that was the first real gift he'd given me in years. Not money, not words, just presents. Naya came a month later, not to my house, but to the shop. She walked in on a Tuesday afternoon, hair in a bun, no makeup, wearing a simple cotton dress. She didn't say auntie, didn't smile too wide, just stood by the counter and said, I heard you need help with the books. I raised an eyebrow. You know accounting. I'm learning night classes at the Edel school. I want to do better. I studied hurriedly, studied her, no pretense, no performance. Just a young woman who'd finally seen herself in the mirror and didn't like what she saw, so I nodded. Start tomorrow. 9A.M. Pay is $800 a week, no exceptions. She didn't flinch. Yes, Mrs. Lewis, and she came. Every day, on time, worked the register, balanced the ledgers, even swept the floor when it needed it. Never asked for more, never mentioned DELON, just showed up. In Jamaica, we got a saying, actions speak louder than sorry, especially when the sorry got no hands to help. One evening, as we were closing up, she stayed late to finish the inventory. I was locking the till when she said, real quiet, I used to think you were embarrassing. Your head tea, your slippers, your way of talking. I thought it made us look poor. I kept counting coins. And now, she looked at her hands, rough now from cleaning, no manicure. Now I see, you was never poor, Mama Barbara. You was rich in ways I didn't understand, and I threw it away for glitter. I finally looked at her. Glitter wash off in the rain, chilly, but gold stay. She nodded, tears falling silent. Can I call you Mama? I thought about it long and hard. Then I said, you earn it. I'll give it, but not before. She wiped her eyes. Fair enough. Time moved like river water, slow, but sure. Delon started coming to the shop on weekends, fixing shelves, painting walls, even helping old Mrs. Grant carry her groceries home. People started nodding at him again. Not as that ungrateful son, but as Delon Lewis, the one who's trying. Nia finished her accounting course, got a proper job at a small firm in New Kingston, still came to the shop every Friday to help with books, not because she had to, but because she wanted to. And me, I started sleeping through the night. No more dreams of empty chairs at family dinners. No more waking up wondering if I'd done enough. Because I finally understood, you can't control how people treat you, but you can control how you let it live in your heart. Then came the invitation. Not a wedding, not a party, just a small card, hand-delivered. Delon and Nia, request the honor of your present seat. A simple dinner to celebrate 1 year of honest living. Your house, your rules. I held it for a long time. That night, I sat on my veranda and talked to Clive like I do every full moon. What do you think, love? Should I go? The wind rustled the mango leaves. Felt like a yes. So I went. Not in my best dress, not in slippers, just a clean cotton skirt, my hair in a bun, and Clive's old watch on my wrist. They'd set the table on their tiny porch, 2 chairs, 1 small lamp, and a pot of rice and peas steaming in the center. No fancy plates, no wine, just food, family, and silence that didn't hurt. Delan stood when I came. Nia poured me a glass of ginger tea. We ate. We talked about the shop, the weather, the new bridge over the Hope River. No grand apologies, no dramatic confessions, just peace. And in that quiet, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Hope. Not hope that they'd never hurt me again, but hope that they'd learned how to love without taking. Now, people ask me, Barbara, did you take them back? I tell them, I didn't take them back. I let them find their way home, not to my house, but to their own hearts. Because, here's the final truth, I learned after 76 years in this hard, beautiful island, family ain't about blood, it's about choice. And every day, they choose to do better. So every day, I choose to believe them. I still live in my little house near Halfway Tree. Delan and Nia live in their room near Papini. We don't share a roof, but we share Sundays, sometimes at the shop, sometimes at their place, always with extra food. And when Nia calls me mama now, it don't feel like a title, it feels like a promise. So thank you for walking this road with me, for listening to an old woman's truth without judgment. Because, in a world that forgets elders like me, being heard is its own kind of grace. And if you ever doubt that broken things can heal, just remember, even the hardest ground can grow the sweetest mango if you give it time and stop pouring salt on the roots.